G'day and welcome to MotoringBox. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can cheaply and easily detail the interior of your car. If your car's more than 20 years old, like this one is, it's going to have its fair share of human slime built up inside. So with a few simple methods, we can actually help remove all of that and bring it back to its former glory. So stick around. This is my Holden VT Calais, which I picked up about 2 weeks ago. And whilst I've had it, I haven't really done anything to it, not even cleaned it on the inside or out. And whilst it looks pretty spotless in the video, there are some major improvements which I think can be had. This car wasn't optioned with leather when it was brand new, so it comes with this beautifully comfortable cloth interior. But when you have a closer look at it, there are some stains and other imperfections which we can definitely have a go at. And using simple equipment which you've probably already got, well, for the most part. So let's head back to the garage where I'll show you what you need and how to do it.
Now, as with most things on MotoringBox, it's all about doing things on the cheap. I'm not about to go winning any awards for car cleaning here, but in my mind this is far and away the cheapest method for cleaning your car's interior and getting some good results. The interior of my VT Calais is pretty good overall, but there are definitely a few parts which should look better after a clean. So here's what you're going to need: a bucket and a sponge, and a shampoo or soap of your choice. I'm simply going to be using my typical car washing solution here because it smells good and basically it'll do the job. The most important tool is something you may need to go out and buy. It's a wet and dry workshop vacuum cleaner. And lastly, you'll also need a cleaning/protecting product for your interior plastics and a cloth to apply it. That's it. So what we're going to do first is pull all of the floor mats and also the boot lining out of the car and start hitting it with the vacuum cleaner. Basically, what you want to do is get every little bit of dirt and dust out of the mat whilst it's still dry. This will make the second half of the process a lot easier. Next up, you're going to fill your bucket with water and the car washing solution of your choice. I'm actually using Meguiar's Next Gen car wash here, but whatever you use to wash your car will be absolutely fine. And then you're going to get your sponge and start rubbing it into the floor mats of your car, making sure you focus especially on areas which have stains. I know this might seem a little bit dodgy at first, but stay with me here. It's actually a very simple process and you're going to get some really good results. Once you're happy with how the floor mats are looking, it's time to get your wet and dry vacuum cleaner and start sucking out as much water and soap as you can. Make sure you go over all of the mat multiple times to get it as dry as possible. And once you've done that, go and throw it out in the sun so it can continue drying on its own. After that, you can move on to all the other floor mats you have and repeat exactly the same process. Soap them up and then suck the water out when you're done. Next up, we're going to get our vacuum once again and vacuum the entire car, getting as much dirt and dust out of the car as possible. You can also remove the back seat if you're especially keen to help you get the job done a lot easier. You'll notice that I'm not actually using any attachment on my vacuum cleaner. That's because I've found simply using the outlet of the vacuum is the most effective way to do it. I simply move it backwards and forwards across the carpet and it seems to agitate all the fibers and bring out any dirt or tiny rocks which might be lodged in between all the fibers. Make sure you vacuum all of your seats and every single little bit of carpet possible. I've chosen to remove the back seat of my car, so I'm now going to hit it with the soapy sponge, and it's essentially the same method that I used on the floor mats. Because there is foam padding under this material, I'm trying to limit just how wet I get the fabric because I want to try and speed up the drying time. So I'm not going overboard with the amount of soapy water that I'm using here. The seat material on VT Commodores is notorious for coming unstuck from the foam underneath. So you'll notice this material is kind of swimming backwards and forwards a little bit as I drag the vacuum cleaner over the top. Rest assured, this is not really damaging the material any further as it's already unstuck. With the rear seat base done, I'm now going to move on to the seat backs and check out this yellow stain which we saw earlier on. You can actually see it on the sponge, so I dare say we're going to get some good results here once I vacuum it out. As I move the nozzle back and forth here, you can actually see a little bit of yellow liquid coming out of the seat. Gross. So just as before, move the vacuum across the entire seat to get it as dry as possible. We're now going to repeat the process for the center of the seat and also the other side. Now, if the back of the front seats in your car are cloth, you can actually wash those too, and we definitely need to in this case, because check out how the bottom of this seat looks. I don't know whether it's the feet of children which have dirtied this up or what, but we can definitely get it out using exactly the same method. I'm going to hit it with the soapy sponge and then suck out the water just as before. Having a look at this, you can see this stain still exists, so if this is the same in your car, you can actually just hit it again as many times as you need until the stain is lifted. With the seats in the back area done, I'm now going to do the carpet. Once again with the soapy sponge and then sucking out the dirty water with the vacuum cleaner. If any of you are having doubts as to how well this method actually works, take a look at the water here in my bucket. You can see it's definitely a rather nasty shade of brown. And even worse is the water inside my wet dry vacuum cleaner. Take a look at this. I've only done the back seats and the floor mats, but it definitely looks like it's come out of a muddy creek or something equally disgusting. All of this dirt was actually inside the car, and luckily it isn't anymore. So we're going to empty out our vacuum cleaner and continue on into the front of the car. The VT Calais actually comes with these carpeted inserts on the door cards, so we're going to do the same thing here as well. They're not looking too dirty, but it makes sense to go ahead and do them at the same time as the seats. The front seats in my car actually look pretty good, but there is a little stain which we can definitely lift with the scrubbing motion of our sponge. Once you're happy with how the seat's looking, get your vacuum cleaner out and suck out all of the moisture. Going over any other parts if they still feel a little bit too damp. Move over to the driver's side and do exactly the same thing. Making the vacuum cleaner do as much work as possible so that the drying time will be a lot quicker. With all of the fabric in the interior done, I'm going to empty out my vacuum cleaner one more time. And there is definitely a bit more dirt and hair and other human slime which has come out as a result. Next up, if your car interior plastics have any strange marks on them, you can actually get these melamine sponges from discount Japanese stores like Daiso, and they're extremely versatile at removing marks off almost any surface. All you have to do is run them under the tap and then wring out any excess water and then rub them across the mark which you wish to remove. As you can see, this tape mark on my dashboard is coming off pretty easily, which is a fantastic result. And the very last step of this car cleaning adventure is to clean the plastics in your car. I like to use this product from Armor All because it seems to clean the plastics really well and adds a nice protective shine. All you have to do is spray it onto the plastics and then rub it in with your cloth. It's going to make a massive difference to how good your car's interior can look. And with that, all that's left to do is to leave your car out in the sun for a couple of hours to let it all dry out. And that's it guys, the job's done. So let's take a step back and have a look at what we've been able to achieve.
It's been about a week since I cleaned the interior of this car, but it is still looking absolutely fantastic. Check it out. Considering their age, these seats have actually come up amazingly well. The cloth looks perfectly clean, there's not a single stain left anywhere that I can see. And also the Armor All product has made the plastics look supple and almost like new. In my opinion, it just goes to show that you don't really need top-notch equipment in order to get an impressive result. And the good news is you won't need to do this again for the foreseeable future, unless you carry dirty pets or messy children. A simple vacuum is all you'll need to bring this car back to its very best, and wiping the plastics down every now and then. So what do you think of my budget car interior cleaning method? Let me know in the comments below, and please don't flame me too much because I know it did look pretty dodgy the way I was just cleaning this up with a sponge and soapy water, but you can't argue with the end result. It looks fantastic and for very little financial outlay and not a lot of time. So thank you very much for watching guys. Do consider subscribing because in the next video I'm going to be cleaning and detailing up the exterior of this car. As I mentioned, I haven't even cleaned it since I bought it a couple of weeks ago, so I do think it's going to look fantastic after we spend a little bit of time and effort. So come with me on the journey and I'll see you next time.